Welcome, sir. It's a pleasure having you with us. Sir, what is the current status of your project to take broadband connectivity to rural India, to connect all the villages?
We have a major project to connect 250,000 panchayats to optical fiber and provide broadband services at panchayats. This project is going to cost us almost 30,000 crores. We have, as you know, in this country about over 1 million kilometers of optical fiber already in existence, mainly because of the telecom growth we have had in the last 20 years. The key now is to connect the last mile using extra fiber, which may be around 400,000 kilometers. The key is not only to provide fiber, but also to light fiber, provide the right equipment, provide tower, and then provide all the services required to really take telecom revolution to the next level. You see, not too long ago, we had 2 million phones in this country. A lot of our young people don't realize that it used to take 15 years to get telephone connection in India. In a very short span of 20 years, we are a nation of a connected billion. We have over 800 million phones. But that's first phase of the telecom revolution, which is just about over. The second phase of the telecom revolution is about to begin. And that's all about broadband. And through broadband, with right applications, we'll be able to transform governance, education, health, agriculture, and delivery of public services.
Sir, how do you think this level of broadband penetration would change the lives of common people in India?
Once you have broadband connection at the panchayat, you'll be able to do multiple things. One, let's take agriculture. You'll be able to learn more about agriculture, fertilizer, seeds, good practices, pricing, and you'll be able to interact with others and create a community of agriculture experts. Create marketplace in agriculture, buy fertilizer, trade your produce. Two, you'll be able to get government services without really going to government offices. You'll get rid of the intermediary, which is a major problem today. So you'll get your birth certificate, death certificate, land record, pension, payment for your Narega work will come directly to you. So that's whole lot of government services. Income tax you'll be able to file, online. Then you'll be able to transform education. Today, education implies teacher going to village to deliver content. We don't have enough teachers. We have huge shortages of good teachers. Now you'll be able to go on the internet, learn math, physics, social science, economics, engineering, whatever. And you'll be able to access best of the best content. Take health services. You will connect this panchayat broadband to telemedicine. So you'll be able to dial in a doctor in nearby city and show your tongue, show your eyes and say, look, this is the problem I have. So essentially it has potential to transform everything we do today. See, a lot of people don't realize that world over there is great drive for innovations all of a sudden. Everybody's talking about innovations. In US, in Europe, in Japan, in China, in India. Everyone thinks that innovation is critical to improve productivity, efficiency for globally competitive markets. But the bottom line here is people are focused on innovation because internet and web has changed everything we do. It has changed business models, delivery of services, and it has far-reaching implications on the way we do things. It is because of internet, everything is up for generational change. And I think for India, this is a great opportunity because we have young population. We have 550 million young below age of 25. And if we can get broadband to this young population, they will figure out new applications that people like me don't even understand today.
Right. I read somewhere that where you had said that if applied properly, this can contribute to 2% of India's GDP.
Absolutely. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. But we have to create local applications, relevant applications in local language.
Right.
Okay? So the broadband is not going to be big help to India if you don't have content. Broadband is not there in village to see Bollywood and New York Stock Exchange. We got to create local content.
Right. You're talking of innovation. So some months back you had mooted this idea of an innovation fund. So what is happening with that? Where is it now?
We would be operationalizing innovation fund by July, August. The idea at the Innovation Council was to focus on bottom of the pyramid innovations for inclusive growth. Because many of us believe that world over, best brains are busy solving problems of the rich, who really don't have problems to solve. As a result, problems of the poor don't get the right kind of talent. So innovation happens at the top of the pyramid. It doesn't happen at the bottom of the pyramid. So we have the largest number of poor in India. We have huge amount of potential talent. So we have a moral responsibility to solve problems of the poor. Not just poor in India, but also poor in rest of the world. So to do that, you need talent and risk capital. If you don't have risk capital, you can't do it. So we have created a $1 billion fund, 5,000 crore roughly. It will start with 500 crore. Part of the investment is from government, other part comes from local banks, foreign capital, private capital, and we'll use that fund for small entrepreneurs who are really innovating to solve the problems of the poor.
So when do you think these entrepreneurs can take advantage of this fund? How soon do you think?
Beginning August?
Oh, that's soon.
Absolutely.
You've been involved in Kerala. Kerala Chief Minister has said that this is going to transform the face of Kerala. What is exactly happening there? What are the programs here?
Kerala Chief Minister invited us to go visit. We went as a team and he was very receptive to some of the new ideas we proposed. We proposed things like waterways and ports for Kerala. You look at Gujarat, a lot of the prosperity in Gujarat comes from focus on building ports. Kerala has huge amount of ports and also a tradition. But over a period of time, people haven't paid much attention to it. So the idea is to build waterways from north to south, rebuild some of the ports, then focus on vocational education, Ayurveda, high-speed train. These are some of the projects that we have proposed, and we believe it will create a lot of excitement. Big projects always galvanize local population.
Can such a model be replicated in other states of India as well?
It depends on the local considerations. Like other states may not have the waterways that Kerala has. Take for example Madhya Pradesh. Another one thing I forgot to mention for Kerala is knowledge city. We want to build knowledge city in city like Trivandrum or Cochin or other places. But let's take Madhya Pradesh. I went to Madhya Pradesh yesterday, met with the Chief Minister, met with Chief Secretary. And one message I had is that Bhopal, which I believe is a beautiful city, lake adds to the beauty of Bhopal. But unfortunately, whenever we talk of Bhopal today, we think of the tragedy. Lots of people died, Union Carbide, and those images are still in our mind. It is about time to look beyond that. So I suggested to the Chief Minister that we should build Bhopal as an environment city for the world. So you can then have 400-acre land around, someplace 200, whatever, and we build the best of the best world's talent geared towards solving environmental issues in the world. So you have green technologies, life sciences, environmental scientists. We bring best in the world, create ecosystem, give them the facility. Investment will come. We also talked about making Ujjain, which was knowledge capital of India at one time. As children growing up, we read about these things. So why can't we again look at Ujjain and make it a knowledge capital? You need big ideas and big projects to attract talent, investments, and you need a little bit of romance in these things.